Before we start the day's proceedings, I would like to introduce the dignitaries at the head table. Honorable Prasanna Ranatunga, Cabinet Minister for the Ministry of Urban Development and Housing. Honorable Arundika Fernando, State Minister for the Ministry of Urban Development and Housing. His Excellency Jean-François Paquet, Ambassador of France to Sri Lanka and the Maldives. Mr. David Bajuku, Maritime Safety Director of Collected Localization Satellites. Mr. W.S. Satyananda, Secretary to the Ministry of Urban Development and Housing. Mr. Asela Rakava, Chairman of the Marine Environment Protection Authority. And Mr. Jean Alexandre, Economic Counselor of the Embassy of France. Ayubowan. Samudra Parisara Arakshanadhikariya විශේෂයෙන් සමුද්‍ර ආපදා වැළැක්වීම හා කළමනාකරණය සම්බන්ධව ඉතා වැදගත් කාර්යභාරයක් ඉටු කරනු ලබනවා. ශ්‍රී ලංකා මුහුදු තීරයේ නැව් ආශ්‍රිතව තෙල් කාන්දුවීම් නිරීක්ෂණ යාන්ත්‍රණයක් ස්ථාපිත කිරීම මේ ව්‍යාපෘතියේ අරමුණයි. ඒ අනුව චන්ද්‍රිකා තාක්ෂණය මත පදනම් වූ තෙල් කාන්දුවීම් නිරීක්ෂණ සේවාව ලබා ගැනීමට අදාළව ප්‍රංශ රජය සමග ශ්‍රී ලංකා රජය මේ ගිවිසුමට එළඹෙනවා. A very good morning, everyone. Welcome. The Marine Environment Protection Authority bears the responsibility for the prevention of maritime disasters as well as enforcing international conventions for minimizing marine pollution. In light of recent calamities, such as the MV Express Pearl and the MV New Diamond, there arose a need for a more stringent and efficient surveillance system in order to both prevent and to notify in the unfortunate events that such an event reoccurs. The French government has graciously agreed to lend their support in this regard by funding a short-term pilot project which utilizes satellite technology to provide oil spill monitoring services through the French company Collected Localization Satellites, or CLS. We are gathered here today for the signing of a memorandum of understanding for this pilot project. Without further ado, to start off the day's proceedings, the General Manager of the Marine Environment Protection Authority, Mr. A.J.M. Gunasekara, will deliver the welcome address.
Ayubowan. Very good morning to all of you. Honorable Prasanna Ranatunga, Ministry of Urban Development and Housing. Honorable Arundika Fernando, State Minister, Ministry of Urban Development and Housing. His Excellency Jean-François Paquet, Ambassador of France, and Mr. Jean Alexander, Economic Counselor of French Embassy and representative of French Embassy. Mr. David Bajuku, Maritime Safety Director, CLS, and all CLS representative, Mr. W.S. Satyananda, Secretary to the Ministry of Urban Development and Housing, Mr. Asela Rakava, Chairman, Marine Environment Protection Authority of MIPA, members of the Board of Directors of MIPA, all head of government agencies, senior officers of Navy, Army, and Air Force, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today with immense pleasure and pride as we gather here for a momentous occasion, the MOU signing ceremony for the pilot project on satellite-based oil spill monitoring service in Sri Lanka. It is indeed an honor to welcome each and every one of you to this significant event on behalf of Chairman and Marine Environment Protection Authority of Sri Lanka. Before we proceed, I would like to extend a heartfelt welcome to our esteemed invitees who have added luster to this gathering, Honorable Prasanna Ranatunga, Cabinet Minister for the Ministry of Urban Development and Housing. I also would like to welcome Honorable Arundika Fernando, State Minister for the Ministry of Urban Development and Housing. I would like to extend our warm welcome to His Excellency Jean-François Paquet, Ambassador of France, and his esteemed representative of French Embassy. Mr. David Vekajo, Maritime Safety Director of CLS, and all CLS representatives. I also would like to welcome Mr. W.S. Satyananda, Secretary to Ministry of Urban Development and Housing. I also would like to welcome all board members of MIPA and all head of agencies and senior officers of three forces, Navy, Army, Air Force, all our distinguished guests. We are gathered here today to address a pressing issue that affects not only our nation of Sri Lanka, but also the global community. The safeguarding of our precious marine environment, recent ship incidents, both large and small in scale, have highlighted the immense state of oil spill and pollution in our waters. These events have served as stark reminders of the critical need for a comprehensive and efficient oil spill monitoring system. In response to this need, the Marine Environment Protection Authority has taken on the role of responsible mandated agency, engaging in numerous discussions to find viable solutions. Today we are here to mark significant milestone in this journey as the French government, through the collective localization satellite CLS, has generously extended his assistance to establish a satellite-based oil spill monitoring system in Sri Lanka. This MOU signing ceremony signifies the beginning of the pilot project that will demonstrate the feasibility and efficiency of satellite-based solution for oil spill detection. The objective of this project are far-reaching and include not only the establishment of oil spill monitoring services, but also training and capacity building of our dedicated officers. The ultimate goal is to protect our pristine Sri Lankan coast, to mitigate the adverse effect of oil spills on our environment, public health, economic activities, and to establish an efficient monitoring mechanism across our exclusive economic zone. As we embark on this journey toward a cleaner, safer, and more sustainable future for our marine environment, we are truly grateful for collaboration and support we have received from the French government and CLS. This partnership reinforces our commitment to environment stewardship and set a shining example of international cooperation for the greater good. Let's move forward this determination, unity, and a shared vision of protecting our coastal waters and ensuring a sustainable future for generations. To come together, we can make a positive differences in safeguarding our environment. Thank you. May this ceremony mark beginning of a new era in Sri Lanka's commitment to marine environment preservation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, the Maritime Safety Director of CLS, Mr. David Bajuku, will address the gathering.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you very much for having us today. It's a pleasure to be here. Would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to MEPA, especially to the chairman, Mr. Azela, and to the general manager, Mr. Jagat, who have been working very hard in making this project happen. So thank you very much for that and for your trust in CLS. We'd like also to say thank you to the French Embassy Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Pacte, and the Economic Counselor, Mr. Egea. Thank you very much for your dedication, your commitment, and your hard work in making this project happen. CLS has been a partner for many years, for almost 40 years, of maritime authorities, and we are today very proud and honored again to run this project alongside with MEPA. At CLS, we are all convinced that this project will be successful, and the solution that is going to be deployed is already operated, for example, in Europe, because the EMSA, the European Maritime and Safety Agency, is operating a similar system for almost 15 years now. And the results achieved are quite tremendous, having in mind that maritime pollution have been divided by 2 over a 10 years period. So we, again, are very confident that we will get similar results here in Sri Lanka, and this will be a big milestone in the development of Sri Lanka and the sustainable development and protection of the maritime environment. That's basically the few words that we wanted to say. And again, you can count on all CLS team commitment and dedication to make this project successful.
Thank you. එසේම මේ පිළිබඳව අදහස් දැක්වීමට නාගරික සංවර්ධන හා නිවාස අමාත්‍ය ලේකම් WS සත්‍යානන්ද මහතාටයි මේ ආරාධනය. Moving on, the Secretary to the Ministry of Urban Development and Housing, Mr. WS Satyananda, will deliver his remarks to the Assembly.
Good morning, everybody. Honorable Prasanna Ranatunga, Minister for Urban Development and Housing. Honorable Arundika Fernando, State Minister for Ministry of Urban Development and Housing. His Excellency, Ambassador of France and esteemed representatives of the French Embassy. Mr. David Bojuko, Maritime Safety Director, CLS, and all other CLS representatives, Chairman of MEPA, and all the staff officers, senior officers of MEPA, heads of government agencies, senior officers of Triforces, Director General Information Department and other media personnel, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are privileged to gather here for a momentous occasion, marking a collaborative effort that holds the key to safeguarding our cherished shores and marine ecosystems for posterity. We come together to celebrate the launch of the pilot project on satellite-based oil spill monitoring service in Sri Lanka, a visionary partnership between CLS and the MEPA of Sri Lanka. It is imperative that we not only herald the commencement of this pilot project, but also commit to its sustained success in the long run. This initiative embodies the fusion of CLS cutting-edge satellite technology and MEPA's unwavering dedication to safeguarding Sri Lanka's marine environment. It stands as a beacon of hope, our shared endeavor to protect and preserve our invaluable oceans. Yet the triumph of this pilot project does not conclude with its inception. We must acknowledge the critical importance of its enduring sustainability. The well-being of our oceans is not a transient concern, and neither should our commitment to their protection be. In summation, the launch of this pilot project on satellite-based oil spill monitoring service represents a significant leap forward in our united quest to shield our marine environment. It signifies our pledge to responsible stewardship and the prosperity of our coastal communities. Let us not only extend our best wishes for the success of this project, but also pledge our unwavering support for its continued advancement. Together, we can ensure that the pristine allure of Sri Lanka's shores and marine life endures unblemished for generations to come. I think this is a very big opportunity for us as Sri Lankans and the officials of Sri Lanka. I very much thank you for that chairman of MIPA and other staff officers and all the staff to organize this type of event. Thank you very much for all. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you. Now please welcome to the podium His Excellency Jean-François Pacte, Ambassador of France to Sri Lanka and the Maldives, who will share his insights with the audience.
Honorable Prasanna Ranatunga, Minister of Urban Development and Housing, Honorable Arundika Fernando, State Minister of Urban Development and Housing, dear Azela Rikawa, Chairman of MIPA, dear Admiral, dear officials and representatives of the Sri Lankan Navy, Sri Lankan Coast Guard, MIPA, and other government agencies, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me to be here today with you this morning. And first of all, I would like to thank MEPA for organizing this event and Minister Ranatunga and Minister of State Fernando for being here today. And why are we here together today? It is because of a common assessment we make. As we all know, the oceans regulate our climate and produce most of the oxygen we breathe. And the ocean also underpins much of the world's economy, supporting sectors ranging from tourism and fishing to international shipping. And this is particularly the case in Sri Lanka, which has become the largest maritime hub in the South Asian region and a world-class tourist destination. However, the ocean also are threatened by climate change, by plastic pollution, and by the overexploitation of maritime resources. Mangrove and coral reefs, which are playing a key role in carbon sequestration, are under great stress in many countries, including in Sri Lanka. And in order to mobilize the international community to take concrete action to reduce these harmful effects on the ocean, France hosted the One Ocean Summit in France in February 2022. And on this occasion, the European Union, the French presidency of the Council, called for the adoption of a treaty for the conservation and sustainable use of marine biodiversity in areas beyond national jurisdictions. And 1 year later, this resulted in the adoption by the United Nations of the Treaty on the High Seas, which provides this commitment about the conservation and sustainable use of marine biological diversity, and which aims to make 30% of the seas protected areas by 2030 in order to safeguard and restore marine resources. So global commitment, and I'm recalling this to show that global commitment actually does lead to concrete results and does make a difference. And let me now turn briefly to our bilateral relation. As we celebrate in 2023 the 75th anniversary of our bilateral relations, we had the honor to welcome President Ranil Wickremesinghe to France to participate last June in the new Global Financing Pact Summit, which aimed at mobilizing new financial instruments to fight against climate change and poverty. And on July 28, President of France met President Wickremesinghe in Colombo. and it was a historic visit, the first by a French president to Sri Lanka. And on this occasion, President Wickremesinghe decided to join the Paris Pact for People and the Planet in order to continue and implement the work undertaken at the new Global Financing Pact Summit. So it is against this backdrop of dynamic bilateral relations and ambitious international cooperation to protect the oceans that today we are here gathered to witness MEPA and CLS going to sign an MOU to set up a pilot project to monitor oil spill pollution, which is a major environmental threat for Sri Lanka. This project is funded by a grant from the French Ministry of the Economy, and it will help develop Sri Lankan expertise in the fight against marine pollution through the use of cutting-edge technologies. And I think it brings together the strengths of the two countries: satellite observation, which is a proven expertise field of CLS, and the commitment of Sri Lanka to sustainable development and maritime safety. So I wish MEPA and CLS every success in this endeavor and hope that this project will pave the way for long-term bilateral cooperation to protect the ocean, which is immense but still highly vulnerable to uncontrolled human activity. This is a huge but vital challenge for an island nation like Sri Lanka. Thank you very much for your attention, and best wishes to CLS and MEPA on their common endeavor. Thank you.